The emergency brakes bit the rails with a shriek, and the elevator stopped hard enough to rattle my teeth. The floor display froze on 13. The lights steadied. The steel box became a sealed room. I didn't panic. I counted. Battery on the emergency panel. Vent fan, signal bars. Time until maintenance noticed the car wasn't answering. Elena Sterling stood beside me, blazer, flawless, jaw tight. When she turned, the air carried sandalwood and rain, clean, expensive, controlled. She watched my hands the way power watches tools. "You're calm," she said. "I'm counting," I replied. "If the fan keeps running, we're fine. If the battery holds, we can wait." Her phone showed one fading bar. She lowered it and leaned closer, voice barely there. "No cameras in here," she whispered, then corrected herself like she hated the line, even as she used it. "So you can tell me the truth without anyone cutting it into a headline." Strategy, not flirtation. "Which board member hired you to frame me?" she asked. Marcus Harlow, CFO. Smile like a knife. In a week, I'd watched him steer conversations away from pensions and toward Elena's expense reports. "No one hired me to frame you," I said. "That's not an answer. It's the only clean one." The elevator gave a slow groan. Voices echoed above us. Tools clinked. Elena's shoulders dropped a fraction. "You've been auditing my life," she said. "My calendar, my receipts. I audit narratives," I said. "Numbers tell stories, boards sell stories. Someone wants a simpler headline than pension shortfall." Elena's mouth tightened. "And I'm the headline," I didn't argue. "In my work, the person being blamed is rarely the person who benefits." A jolt. The car shifted. The doors sighed open onto cold hallway air. Elena didn't step out right away. She looked at me like she was weighing a risk. "If I'm right," she said, "he'll move tonight." "Then we move first," I replied. She walked. I matched her pace. Auratech gave me a glass audit room and a coffee machine that had never been loved. On my whiteboard, Warren Pike board chair. Dana Klein, General Counsel. Devin Ree, IT. Marcus Harlow, CFO. Then the people who kept the building alive. Sarah at the front desk. Mike in maintenance, 2 analysts pulling late nights. It's easy to call it just numbers. But numbers are payroll. Numbers are pensions. A missing decimal is someone's retirement. In the pension workbook, the summary tab looked perfect. That's always the first warning. I drilled down. Patterns, breaks, repeats. Money temporarily reallocated into a pool labeled strategic expansion. A dumpster label. Everything unwanted goes there. I walk the building the way I walk a ledger, quiet, listening for the place the story changes. Sarah handed visitors badges with a smile that never reached her eyes. Mike fixed a flickering panel by the elevators and muttered, "Third time this month. Budget cuts." "Who cut it?" I asked. Mike shrugged, but his jaw tightened. "Finance tells us what we can order." "Finance." Marcus. Back in the audit room, I matched Mike's supply delays with vendor payments. A maintenance vendor got paid late, then suddenly got paid early right after a pension transfer moved. Different departments. Same timing, same hand on the lever. I ran a vendor history pull and found something uglier. A shell company created 7 months ago, paid in neat increments, just under the threshold that triggers automatic review. The address was a mailbox store. The phone number routed to a deadline. The only employee listed on the onboarding form had a social security number that didn't match the state of issue. That's the thing about fraud. It wants to look boring. I built a side sheet, dates, amounts, approvals, then cross-referenced it with internal approvals. The same initials kept appearing, MH, and when MH wasn't on the approval line. But the request still originated from his office. Elena messaged, "Come to my office." No assistance. Later that day, Sarah stopped by my audit room with a stack of mail she claimed was misrouted. "They've been asking about the pension portal," she said quietly, eyes flicking toward the glass. "The older guys. The ones who don't complain unless they're scared." "Who's they?" I asked. Sarah swallowed. "Mike. A couple analysts, people in shipping. They say their projections changed after that strategic pool update." Her voice dropped. "Elena doesn't know she will," I said. Sarah's shoulders loosened a fraction, like she'd handed me a weight she couldn't carry alone. "Just don't let them blame her," she whispered. I looked at her. Really looked. "That's the plan," I said. Marcus was already in her doorway, laughing with Dana like he belonged in her space. "Elena," I said, keeping my voice even. "There's movement in the pension accounts." Marcus chuckled. "Pensions are boring." "Not to the people living on them," Elena said, polite and sharp. I slid my tablet across Elena's desk. Red blocks where funds should be. Gray where they went. Elena stared, went still. Marcus leaned in. "Incomplete. It's a pattern," I said. "Patterns aren't clerical." Elena looked at me. "What do you need? Raw ledger exports? IT logs? Vendor contracts? Board minutes for strategic expansion?" Marcus smiled. "Sensitive." Elena, Marcus added softly. "This is how reputations die. Someone whispers, 'embezzlement,' and suddenly it's a scandal. Scandal, exit ramp." Elena didn't blink. "Do it, Marcus." His smile stayed. His eyes didn't. As he left, they told me, "You don't know what you stepped into." Devon sent a sanitized export by midnight. Corporate bloodless. The totals tied. The supporting detail didn't. I didn't accuse him in email. Emails become exhibits. I forwarded it to Elena with one line filtered. "I need raw." Elena called 5 minutes later. "He's blocking you. He thinks he can." Devon didn't give me the raw logs. He gave me reporting extracts, which is corporate for, "I removed the part that makes someone powerful look guilty." I asked him in person, not over email. Devon's office smelled like burnt plastic and cold pizza. His hands kept moving, mouse, keyboard, mouse, like stillness would get him punished. "Julian," he said, not meeting my eyes, "I have directives." "From Marcus," I answered. Devon's jaw flexed. He didn't deny it. "Devon," I said quietly, "if pensions are being siphoned, you'll be the name on the controls failure." Not Marcus. They don't prosecute the king. They prosecute the gatekeeper. That finally got his eyes on mine. "What do you want?" he asked. "The raw. And the truth about who told you to sanitize." Devon swallowed and slid a small USB drive across his desk, like it was contraband. "This is the unfiltered export," he said. "If anyone asks, I never saw you." I tucked the drive away without celebrating. "Good," I said. "Then we're both still alive." She hesitated. "Why do you keep saying it like that?" "Because I've seen this play," I said, eyes on the numbers. A board panics. A CFO offers stability. A CEO becomes the sacrificial headline. Elena's voice lowered. "Marcus has been pushing me to sign a resignation letter for weeks." "For market confidence," I guessed. "Yes." "Next quarter's pension renewal will expose the gap," I said. "He needs you gone before the question becomes where the money went." A quiet inhale on her end. "So what now? We force him to show his hand," I said. The next morning I asked Devon politely for access logs. He stalled. I asked again, this time with Dana CC'd. He sent a partial set within 10 minutes. In those logs, I saw the same badge pinging after hours near the pension server. Not Elena's. Not mine. Marcus's executive badge logged under a generic service account. He wasn't hiding the theft. He was hiding the story. At 9:12, Dana walked into Elena's office with a folder like a weapon. Emergency board meeting. Noon. Leadership continuity. Elena's eyes iced over. He's manufacturing a crisis. Yes, I said. We just have to name it with proof. At 10:17, my badge turned red. Access suspended, the guard said, apologetic. By CFO Harlow. I smiled, pleasant. Called General Counsel. Tell her the CFO interfered with an active audit. Marcus arrived with a coffee and a grin. Embarrassing, Julian. What's embarrassing is blocking pension review in renewal quarter. He leaned closer, voice low. Walk away. Invoice your time, or you'll be tied to Elena's fall. I let the silence make him uncomfortable. She's going down, he added, and so are you. Dana appeared all steel. Restore his access. Marcus complied like he was doing us a favor. His eyes promised retaliation. In the hall, Elena said lunch meeting. You're coming. Not a request, a deployment. The boardroom felt too warm, like they wanted everyone sweaty and compliant. Warren Pike smiled like nothing bad ever happened to people he knew. Marcus sat relaxed, pen-tapping, already rehearsing the narrative. Warren began with market sentiment. Elena asked, which market, the one reading our earnings, or the one Marcus keeps whispering to Marcus, sighed theatrical. Elena, don't do this. I stayed polite. Chairman, I'm requesting the full pension ledger export and the minutes approving strategic expansion. Marcus's head snapped toward Warren. He doesn't need that. Warren tried to defer. Elena cut through it. After you vote me out, silence did the work for us. As we walked out, Marcus murmured behind my shoulder, you're not her savior, you're her liability. I didn't turn. Then stop making liabilities, I said, and kept walking. That afternoon, Marcus cornered Elena outside the elevators, all charm and soft menace. You don't have to do this the hard way, he said, voice low. Sign the letter. Take your golden exit. The board will praise your grace. Elena's chin lifted. My grace isn't for sale. Marcus's smile tightened. Then don't drag Julian down with you. Contractors are replaceable. I stepped into his line of sight, calm. You're worried about replaceable people, I said. That's new? Marcus's eyes flashed. You're trespassing in decisions above your pay grade. I'm paid to find the truth, I replied. And you're paying a lot of effort to hide it. His voice cooled. Careful, Julian. I didn't raise mine. I am. Snow came early and heavy, turning the city into a quiet trap. Employees left in clusters. Elena stayed. She always stayed. At 9:30, I found her in the executive kitchen, staring at an empty counter like it had betrayed her. You didn't eat, I said. I will. I didn't argue. I ordered pad thai from Jackson. Extra lime, no peanuts. When it arrived, Elena blinked at the bag like it didn't belong in her life. She opened the container surprised. No peanuts, she asked. I pay attention, I said. We ate standing at the counter, shoulder to shoulder, watching the city through the glass. The building's heater clicked like a nervous metronome. Elena's posture stayed CEO, but her eyes kept drifting to her phone, to the hallway, to the invisible pressure pressing in. You can go, she said, not looking at me. I won't, I replied. She finally looked up. Why I didn't give her romance? I gave her truth. Because if Marcus moves tonight, you shouldn't be alone when it happens. Elena swallowed once, then nodded like she accepted that as an operational fact. She rubbed her temple. I pointed at the coffee machine. May I? If you can make that thing work, she said, I'll be impressed. Double filter. Pinch of salt cleaned the sensor. The aroma warmed the room. Elena inhaled, eyes closing for a second, as if relief had weight. How do you know that? She asked. I've lived in places where you learn it, I said. She took the mug with both hands. Her fingers brushed mine long enough to be choice, not accident. Later, when she grabbed a stack of invoices, the cabinet hinge shrieked and snagged. Elena flinched like the sound was one more thing trying to break. I knelt, tightened the screws, adjusted the hinge until it closed with a soft click. Small repairs. The kind that keep a place from feeling hostile. Back in the audit room, I built a trace map, each diverted dollar, each approval path, each timestamp. I didn't stare at numbers like they were math. I treated them like shields. Every line item I locked down was one less angle Marcus could use to stab her with. Elena appeared behind me. "Can you stop them?" I didn't promise with words. I set the packet on the table between us, evidence as armor. Elena pulled me into a staff meeting she usually delegated. A small room, burnt coffee, shaking hands. HR spoke first. Pension projections are off. Not by a little. Some people can't retire when they planned. Names followed, years of service. A spouse with medical bills, a man working nights counting on that money like oxygen. Elena's anger wasn't for herself, it was for them. Her hands flattened on the table, steadying something inside her. "This won't happen," she said, voice controlled. "Not on my watch." In my chest, something shifted, tightness, locking like a seatbelt before impact. A decision settling into bone. After the room emptied, Elena stayed behind, staring at the chairs like they were ghosts. "Marcus wants you gone because you care," I said. "And you?" she asked, eyes sharp. I didn't give her a speech. I opened my laptop and placed the trace pages in front of her, one after another, like sandbags before a flood. "This is where it went," I said. "This is who approved it. This is the path back." Elena swallowed. "You're risking your license." "I know." Her hand found my wrist. Firm, steady, mutual signal. I turned my wrist under her palm and answered without pressure. "Marcus struck at dawn, security incident. Data breach, unauthorized access by external contractor. My name in the subject line." When I reached Elena's office, Marcus had a video-cued night vision from inside her office. Me draping my jacket over Elena's shoulders while she slept, harmless. Then audio. Marcus's voice smug. "We bury the pension story under a personal scandal and vote her out Monday." Elena went pale, then hard. "You bugged my office," she said. Marcus smiled. "Optics matter. You can't have a compromised auditor." I kept my voice level. "You just recorded yourself planning a coup." Marcus pointed at me. "And you're done. You don't have access to the raw server." Elena spoke quietly. "He has a private server in his office. Because he records everything I thought. Because he thinks it makes him untouchable." "Can you get in?" Elena asked. "Not with magic, with habits." 3 days earlier in the board meeting, Marcus had typed a password lazily while joking about his daughter. Emma's birthday is the only thing I can remember. I'd seen the rhythm of his fingers. HR paperwork listed dependents for benefits. Sloppy security disguised as sentiment. "Not a backdoor," I said. "A bad password." We took the service elevator. Camera blind spot near finance. People who belong don't act guilty. Marcus's office was pristine, staged. A photo of a little girl on a pony. A server rack humming in the corner. Password prompt. I typed what his habit suggested, Emma's birth date, the capital letter I'd seen, the exclamation point he thought made him safe. The screen paused, then opened. Elena's breath left her. "Door," I said. "If anyone comes, you leave." "I'm not leaving you," she whispered. "This isn't negotiable," I said. "Calm authority. You protect the company. I protect the evidence." A beat. Elena nodded, strategic, not submissive. Inside a folder labeled Monday, a forged resignation letter with Elena's signature, an offshore transfer draft, and a spreadsheet titled Narrative. He named the lie. I copied everything to an encrypted drive and then built a hash list on the spot so the files could be authenticated later. Not romance work, war work. Halfway through the copy, the hallway went quiet, in the wrong way, the kind of quiet that means someone is listening. Elena's head snapped up. I raised my hand still. A key card beeped again. This time it was closer, correct tone, and the handle moved. Elena slid behind the door and pressed herself flat against the wall out of sight. I killed the monitor brightness and kept my posture loose like I belonged there. The door opened a crack. Devin's voice whispered, strained, "Elena Julianne." Elena's eyes flared. I didn't move until I saw his face, pale, sweating, terrified. "Marcus is coming," Devin breathed. "He saw a login alert. He thinks someone's in here." Elena stepped out, controlled fury in her expression. "Then why are you here?" Devin swallowed. "Because I'm done being his cleanup crew." I handed him the encrypted drive. "You're our witness," I said. "If he tries to erase logs, you tell Dana." Devin nodded too fast, then backed out, pulling the door nearly shut behind him. A second later, footsteps thundered down the corridor. Elena's hand found my wrist again, tight. Mutual signal, ready to move. I snapped the laptop closed, pocketed the drive, and motioned her toward the interior stairwell. We slipped out as Marcus's voice barked from the hall, sharp with panic. "Open the door, now!" We were already gone. "We have him," Elena whispered. "We have proof," I corrected. "Now we need a stage." Warren wanted this private. Elena made it public. An IPO stability briefing in a town hall auditorium. Employees filled the seats first, Sarah, Mike, the analysts, then reporters, then the board. Marcus sat front row, relaxed, like he was watching someone else drown. Elena stepped to the mic. "We owe you transparency, about pensions, about governance, about an attempt to weaponize rumor." Marcus smiled. "Theater." I walked into the light and kept my voice polite. "I reviewed pension allocations. The numbers don't support the narrative being circulated." I plugged in the drive. On the screen, the file named narrative, then the forged resignation, then the offshore draft, then the audio. Marcus's voice filled the room. "We bury the pension story under a personal scandal and vote her out Monday." Betrayal moved through the audience like a cold wind. Mike stood halfway up without realizing it. Sarah covered her mouth. Marcus stood face flushing. Edited. Dana Klein's voice cut clean. "It is not, and surveillance in the CEO's office is a felony." Marcus tried to laugh it off. Everyone loves a conspiracy when markets wobble. Elena didn't blink. "This isn't a conspiracy. It's a ledger." Warren leaned toward the mic, voice strained. "We should recess." Dana Klein cut in sharp. "No. Recess is how evidence disappears." Marcus snapped. "Dana, you work for the company." Dana's eyes stayed cold. "I work for the law, and you made that easy." When the audio ended, Marcus's smile broke completely. He looked to Warren for rescue. Warren looked away. Marcus tried to pivot. He broke into my office. He committed a felony. I didn't flinch. Unauthorized access, yes. Warren's face tightened because he understood what came next. I turned slightly so the reporters could hear me clearly. "If you prosecute me, discovery opens everything, board negligence, security lapses, the pension gap. Your IPO becomes ashes. That's not a threat. That's procedure." Elena stepped forward. "I'm not pressing charges against Julian." Marcus snapped. "You can't, I can," Elena said, "because I'm still CEO." Warren swallowed. Dana leaned in and murmured. The board chose containment. Security moved past me toward Marcus. As they escorted him out, Marcus hissed at Elena, "You'll regret this." Elena's answer was quiet and lethal. "I regret trusting you." Marcus's eyes found mine one last time. "This isn't over," he spat. Polite and tense, I met his gaze. It is. The police came for Marcus. The SEC likes cases that arrive gift-wrapped, and Marcus had gift-wrapped himself. The board did not call the police on me. Dana explained it later with no softness. Before the agents arrived, Warren Pike offered Elena a resolution behind closed doors, remove Marcus, issue a statement about internal controls enhancement, and sign a mutual, non-disparagement agreement. The board's favorite tool isn't truth, it's paperwork. Elena signed only what protected the employees' pension funds and locked the trace map into the official record. She refused every clause that forced silence about pensions. Warren hated it. He accepted it because he had no alternative. Dana drafted a separate memo for law enforcement. My access was unauthorized, but it produced evidence of ongoing financial crime and illegal surveillance. Translation: if they wanted to charge me, they could, but it would drag the board into the mud with me. So the board did what boards do. They contained. They buried your trespass to keep the pension scandal quiet, she said. If you're charged, your defense subpoenas everything. The story becomes public. The IPO dies. They're trading silence for silence. Transactional, cold, logical. They still punished me the way companies punish people they can't control. My badge was cut. My contract terminated for cause. Aurelius and Associates emailed regretfully, then locked my portal before I could reply. I walked out with a cardboard box and the kind of quiet rage that doesn't shout. Elena waited in the lobby, blocking the exit like a wall. They offered you up, she said. They tried, I replied. I refused to press charges, Elena said. And I told Warren if he touched you, I'd release the full pension trace map and the Monday folder to every reporter in that auditorium. I studied her face. The controlled fury, the protective edge. You threatened your own board, I said. Elena's mouth curved slightly. They needed to remember who runs the company. A beat then softer, I'm sorry. I nodded once, not absolving, acknowledging. I can't keep you on payroll, she added. Conflict, optics. Warren would choke. I held her gaze. And you care about optics. I care about reality, she corrected. Reality is, you protected my people. 3 months later, I signed a lease above a bakery that smelled like sugar and heat. Small office, clean windows, a door that didn't stick. My name sat on the draft registration, a blank line beneath it. Elena walked in wearing jeans and a black blazer, hair down, face clear in daylight. Sandalwood and rain followed her like steadier weather. I don't do charity, she said. I don't take it. Good, Elena replied, sliding papers across the desk. Then, this is an investment. Sterling Vance Advisory, LLP, a new firm, clean audits, pension protections, clients who needed truth more than theater. You're still CEO, I said. I'm stepping back, Elena answered. Not because they won, because I'm done fighting people who don't care about Mike's face. Downstairs, the bell chimed. A delivery bag appeared in the window. Pad thai, I said. Extra lime, no peanuts. Elena's smile finally reached her eyes. You pay attention. I ran the coffee double filter pinch of salt. When I handed her the mug, she didn't take it right away. She stepped close and set her hand on my jaw, thumb resting under my cheekbone. A question. I held still and let her lead. Elena's eyes flicked to mine. She nodded once, small, unmistakable. I leaned in. Controlled heat. My palm at her waist, steady, protective. When we parted, Elena breathed out, like she'd been carrying a weight for months. No secrets, she said. No narratives, I replied. Only spreadsheets, Elena said, and her laugh was quiet and real. Our first client walked in the next day, mid-size manufacturer pension plan, in disarray, a CFO who looked like he hadn't slept in a week. I listened. I asked for ledgers. I watched for the break in the pattern. Elena stood behind me for a moment, then moved to the window like she always did, guarding the room without needing to announce it. On opening day, Elena and I rode the old freight elevator up to our office. The car rattled. The lights flickered once. Elena's hand hovered near the emergency button out of habit. I glanced at her. "Don't worry," I said. "I'm counting." Elena's mouth curved. "Of course you are." The elevator reached our floor and opened cleanly. No trap this time, just a door into work we owned. When the client left, Elena turned. "Do you still see narratives in spreadsheets?" she asked. I looked at the stack of files. Then at her. "I see shields," I said. Elena nodded, once satisfied. "Then build them," she replied. That night, after the bakery closed, Elena stayed late and reviewed our first engagement letter line by line. Not because she didn't trust me, because she'd learned what sloppy signatures cost. When she signed, she didn't flourish. She anchored the page with one steady hand and wrote her name like a vow: practical, unromantic, unbreakable. Then she looked up and said, "No one steals from our people again." I nodded once. "Not while we're counting," I replied. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside, the future finally felt like something we built on purpose, clean and earned. The plaque on the door was small, but it felt like freedom, and it was ours today now.